So we are, Gary,
Yeah.
that is live now.
Love it, huh? What am I doing here?
Got 4 minutes.
I might. Quite a few chairs.
Did you put some more in?
I did, but this whole row.
Thank you very much.
Pushed it closer, so. Added a few on the sides.
Last night, Michael's gone for a few days, so fishing.
Oh, lucky guy.
Yeah. So they were at the shop for 2.5 hours, and then they was at the house then, and I was exhausted. I've been thumb at the tail end of this jump, and I was absolutely exhausted. And by 8:30 at night, I was just, when they finally went and they finally left, I was on the couch and I woke up at 10, went to bed, and then got back up at 10:30.
I tell mine, a lot of them are, you guys are a lot of work. You're supposed to be not so much work.
Oh, yeah.
We took the day off after working the weekend. Well, I don't either, but this is part of the deal where we're supposed to notify.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of goes by the wayside at times.
Did you? How did you both start the cows in? I didn't think you was. Oh, okay.
Yeah, you and me both.
Will you hear the shot for me?
O'Brien.
Since I passed away.
They gotta put 1,000 pounds.
I know, you worked with my dad. He was all around. My dad worked on the I tell you, working on site, especially
No. Don't care what they say. No.
Because isn't there, I think there's a hand.
There, I think there is.
That we can put by the computer.
Yep.
Yeah. Right. That looks like a pretty simple agenda. Except down here, that's where all my get sand.
You didn't see Lori show up anywhere, did you?
Yeah, she's here.
I don't know. Couldn't get a seat, did he? Okay, it is right at 8:30, and I want to welcome everybody. Obviously, we knew we was going to have a little bit of a crowd today. We did set up our old commissioner room, which is now our training room downstairs. So hopefully the people down there, we've got all the bugs worked out and they can hear us. The computer is up and running, and we are streaming this meeting, obviously, out for everybody to see. So at this point in time, I'd ask everybody to rise, and we will have the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, welcome everybody once again to the York County Commissioner meeting for March 5th. Roll call, please.
Rhodes,
Present.
Bear,
Here.
Todd,
Here.
Sykes,
Present.
and Overmeyer.
Here, open meetings law is posted on the south side of our chambers. It is in the hallway outside of our chambers. It is also posted on our website. Proof of publication was in the New York News Times, February 29th, and it also was posted on our website. Review and approve the minutes of our February 20th meeting.
Move to approve.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
Bear,
Yes.
and Overmeyer.
Yes, and we need to adopt today's agenda.
Move to adopt the agenda.
Thank you, Stan.
Second.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call.
Bear,
Yes.
Rhodes,
Yes.
Sykes,
Yes.
Todd,
Yes.
and Overmeyer.
Yes. Officials forum.
Good morning,
Good
everyone.
morning, Harv.
Good morning.
We're crack sealing and putting mastic. We're starting on Road D up in the Arborville area, trying to maintain that asphalt. Still hauling gravel into the county, blading roads, kind of our usual thing. The unusual thing is Mother Nature decided we needed to put a new cover on our salt shed yesterday. I had already bought it, had it ready, waiting for a calm day. Well, yesterday, it says we have a calm day today because she took it clear off
There you
yesterday.
go.
So we're trying to put that on to, well, not we, they are trying to put it on this today is what they're trying to do. I gave you guys all the annual report that I do every year so that you can look at it and kind of, yeah, reading material. Other thing is the new pickup. I picked it up, I think, a week ago or something like that. Anyhow, the new pickup is here. Just haven't sent you a bill to get it paid for. So, other than that, that's about all the road department has.
Is it got to get striped yet or?
Yes, that'll happen Tuesday.
Okay.
So,
Any questions for Harv today? Thank you, Harv.
you bet. Have a
Have
good
a,
one.
have a wonderful day.
Will do.
Any other officials this morning? Sherilyn?
Good morning.
Good morning, Sherilyn.
Just wanted to briefly share a project that we've been working on. I don't know if you're aware that in the last few years, the state auditors have been kind of dinging some of the courts, not making an effort to collect court costs. Doesn't apply to York County because we have a different set of auditors. But last year, we decided to be proactive and start. So one of my staff has taken this on and got a procedure in place and sending out notices to people. I had to put some numbers together. She started last August. As of approximately right now, we've brought in $22,800 we've collected for people who've paid in full. We've received another $8,000 for people who've made partial payments and still have more to do. So that's like, we brought in like $30,000 for the county, costs due the county. Some of it was restitution that was owed to victims. There's some on here that we're gonna have to coordinate with the county attorney's office to find resolution for those situations. But now that we have a, policy in place, and we're gonna keep moving forward and narrow it down. So that's all I have.
Is that money that's collected, does that solely stay with the county, or does it, like you mentioned, there's some restitution, stuff like that gets
Most of
split
this is
off?
probably court costs that would be due the county, a little bit due the state for court costs, and some fines that would go to the county, and the restitution would probably go to victims.
Whoever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Interesting fact, the oldest case we've collected money on is from 1998.
Really?
Yeah. So it's working.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you have, I have a question, do you have a total amount that was receivable to start
I
with?
did not have her give me that.
Okay, all
Yeah,
right.
I did not have her give me that. She could probably work on that though. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Cheryl. Any other officials this morning? Okay, seeing none, at this time, we will have public comment. Due to the large crowd here, please keep your comments to within that 3-minute time frame, if you would, please. And if anybody downstairs would like to comment, sure, work your way upstairs and line up in the hallway so we can get to you also. So at this point in time, we'd ask anybody from the public to like to come forward, Please state your name and address for the record and hold comments to 3 minutes if you would. Good morning.
Good morning. David Begley, 4611 South 96th Street. I'm an Omaha attorney. And I'd like to, I saw where Javier Fernandez is on the agenda today. I wanted to give you some insight and some things that you may not otherwise know. I want to give you the other side of the story. So Javier and Brad Underwood are here, and I kind of like these guys. But what you need to understand is that the board of directors sets the policy. You need to appreciate the fact that there's two people that run that 8-person board. One is by the name of Craig Moody, and he has this green consulting company called Virtus Group, and his life is global warming. And the other guy who's the current chairman is Eric Williams, who works for the NRD, and he is a real true believer in global warming. So I'm really excited to see all the people here. I'm the only critic in Omaha of the solar and wind program, and I'm against it because it is expensive and unreliable. And one thing my best friend asked me, he says, why do you spend all your time on this, or all this time on this? And I said, well, you know, above the Capitol on the front door, it says the salvation of the state is in the watchfulness of the citizen. Well, that's kind of been me with OPPD. And so I'm at this one meeting a couple months back, and the chairman, Eric Williams, says to me, you are disrespectful to OPPD and the staff. He said, we're here to improve the lives of people here and around the world. Well, next month I came back and I said, you have absolutely no statutory duty to anybody outside of your service area, and your statutory duty is not to improve people's lives. It's in that thing I handed out. It's low cost and reliable power. That's it. And so, you know, they've gotten off track, and I would submit to you that the OPPD board is just completely lawless. And you get around to this when the solar regulations are adopted, or the special use permit, or it comes up for a vote. Send a message to OPPD. You know, York County, you have the opportunity to hold their feet to the fire and keep them in line with what they're supposed to do. Finally, the last two things I want to mention to you is that you may not know this, but the only county that has any solar right now is Saunders, and I fought that out in Saunders County. And it did get through, but in a real shocker, in fact, Governor Ricketts was the one who first told me about this. The chairwoman of the board was recalled from office. People out there in Saunders County did not like this. In fact, the mayor of Utan said, you know, we do not want this, but the board overrode them. And you know, there's a lot of people in your county who really do not like this. And the last thing I'll say here is, you know, I see that water bottle with that corn cob there on it. You know, I'm a city boy, but there is no doubt Nebraska is the Cornhusker state. And so when I was fighting in Saunders County, I created the slogan, Nebraska is the Cornhusker state, not this Chinese solar panel state. You know, this whole solar thing is completely misbegotten. And OPPD, they're planning on spending $2 billion on solar and wind, and their revenue is only about $2 billion. So they're going to be borrowing a whole bunch more money. So, well, when you get to that, you know, I just urge you, as a lawyer, the thing that really bothers me is that, you know, their statutory duty, your county attorney, I'm sure he's told you many times, you can only do what is statutorily authorized. OPPD is just completely off the tracks. Thank you very much.
Thanks, David. Morning, Roger.
Morning. Roger Morris, 916 Woodcrest Court, York, Nebraska. I've got a project or thing that I'd like to bring up. We came by the solar unit west of Lincoln, the little one by Ruby, the one in Central City during the snowstorms. And I know Lincoln was out of, the solar panels were not active for at least 10 days. Now, if we're relying on solar energy, what about those 10 days that they were not functioning? That is in Nebraska, and if you don't believe that, just look a few years ago what Texas had. And my statement is, we don't need 2,800 acres of prime farm ground to feed the world taken for that. If it was marginal ground, and that would be a different story. Thank you.
Thanks, Roger. Morning.
I'm Gary Carnup, 1008 Road 3, McCool Junction. I'd like to point out some things that these solar projects are going into very highly weather-related, bad weather-related things. And right west of me is going to be a whole section of solar panels. And I lived on that section from 1964 to 1990. And in the 70s, I was struck with hail 4 times, or 4 years. And one year was 17th of June, and it hailed completely out. And we still replanted corn, even though it's late, make silage, good cattle feed anyway. And then I had to move there in 1990 because a devastating tornado went through there. Just leveled, tore everything up. My wife and I and my youngest son was there and rode it out. When the fire department came there, they had to walk a mile because the debris was all scattered around. And they had tears in their eyes when they saw that we were alive. And just 2 years ago, another tornado went through the same area, took the pivots. I lucked out on that one. I had wind damage because I live a mile south, a little bit east of there. But I have 2 pivots to the north of me. One was saved, but the other one took it right up by right out of the concrete, the pivot point, and the whole pivot went over in the field to my neighbor east of me, which incidentally is going to be solar. And I had to hurry up and get that off his field, but the junkers come and got it. But I'd like to point out what weather things can happen in this area. It's got a really bad past history of it. And what will happen when those solars go in the air? Who will clean it up? I remember when I had the tornado, the communities of McCool Junction and Fairmont and Henderson and Bradshaw, people came and cleaned the fields up and everything. I don't think you'll see that with solar panels. And York County has the finest farm ground in the world, not only in Nebraska, the United States, but in the world, of agriculture. And to tear that up and put solar on there, I just can't see that. And that's kind of what I'd like to point out is some of the bad aspects of this. But I have a cattle feeding operation close to it, and I don't see how I can operate with that there. Thank you.
Thanks, Gary. Good morning, Chuck.
Morning, Chuck Byer, 713 South First Avenue, McCool Junction. But today I'm representing Southeast Community College. I'd like to talk about the other one, but we do want to do. We're here to advocate for the community college because I don't know if any of you guys have gone down one block and seen the Learning Center in York, but I recommend that you do because Southeast Community College has made it so that nobody in our 15 county service area has to be more than 35 miles from either a learning center or a campus. The learning center is set up in such a way that we can do remote learning. We take a lot of CNAs and stuff. You can go back and visit Manny the mannequin and play with him, and they can be in contact with their instructors in Lincoln. The instructors in Lincoln can see what they're doing here and they can talk to each other. But the big thing about that is all this does is help bring in jobs for York County and our 15 county service area. in the 15 county service area, the students that are from that area, 73% of them tend to stay in the 15 county service area after they graduate. They talk about the brain drain that's going on in Nebraska. We're getting rid of our young kids because they say we don't have jobs. Well, there are jobs here. They don't all have to go to a four-year college, technical schooling, nursing. We do have industrial carpentry. Just got done building a $22 million addition and renovation of our main campus building. We just opened our first dormitory on the Lincoln campus. We're building a new dormitory in Milford eventually. We're putting in a new farm center in Beatrice. But we just got the new welding center and the John Deere Tech in in Milford. And so anyway, all this does is bring jobs in. And I think as a county board, you go, well, how does that affect us? You work hand in hand with the economic development to get companies to come into York and move to York. You can use Southeast Community College and our Learning Center because they can set up specialized training. They can do, when these people need their in-service training or their credit hours to keep their licenses, a lot of that can be set up at the service center. They don't have to necessarily go to Lincoln. So you can use that as a selling point. Because to be honest, listening to people in the 15 county service area, York County has a reputation of being anti-business because of all the regulations that you guys put in place and have set up, and the way people tend to treat people that want to come in here for business. Well, you can use Southeast Community College as a selling point to say, hey, look, we're going to offer you this, and we are here to help. And with that, I'll say thank you.
Thanks, Chuck. Morning, Gene.
More paperwork?
Thank you.
Gene Jackson, Hayes Township. Mostly paperwork here. The first hand that I give you is the Power Plus. That is some beautiful pictures of those batteries that they haven't talked about before. Boxcar sized batteries that they want to put across the road from my house. I gave you the letter the other day. This is the advertisement or promotion material that came with it. The other one is from the Southwest Power Pool. If you turn to page 2 on this, under background, you'll see that this K-Junction Solar, they talked about 88 inverters. Have you heard about this before? More of that transparency, correct? I want to thank the zoning board for the work they did, putting in the strong setbacks. Why can't we match Gage County setbacks? Be as strong as they are. In your setbacks or your zoning regulations, battery storage and inverters not included on page 1, solar energy conversion systems in class C, class 3, or D, class 4. This is not a farm, solar farm anymore. This is an industrial site. Thank you.
Thanks, Gene.
Ray White, 1306 Road 2, McCool Junction, Nebraska. I live in McFadden Township. I just have a series of questions that I think should be answered before, we continue to think about the setbacks and whatnot for these for this project. Firstly, where are the solar panels bought? Where are they sourced? Who builds them? Where do we get them from? Where are the materials that go into them come from? If you research that, you'll find that question out. Where is the money coming from? What is the incentive of OPPD to do this, really? Let's get down to the basics of their incentive to put this and why here. Thirdly, I'd like to know, how do they intend to control weeds, unwanted plant life in and around them, around disturbed dirt? We all know what happens when you start scraping up dirt around here. You end up with more thistles and you have grass. So I kind of wonder what they're going to do in that aspect to control weeds once they're in and while they're constructing them. Another question I'd like to have answered is, what is the impact of the transportation in and around during the construction of this project? What's the road impact? I wonder if the road guy, the county road guy, has even put any thought into that. There's going to be, I can't even guess how much more traffic, heavy loaded traffic, not just pickup driving around. I'm talking about semis, round out corners, stuff like that. You talk to people down around Milligan, around the wind farm, they'll tell you that their roads are a shambles as a result. Another one would be who's putting these up? Are these locals? I mean, are we going to hire out of our pool of men and women around here the hundreds or 300, 400, 500 people that it takes to put this up? Or are we going to bring in people from the outside? Are they going to haul in electrical union guys from IEBW? How's that going to happen? How does that money come to us? How does our community benefit from it? And thirdly, why are they not in Douglas or Sarpy County? Why are they here? Another one I want to know is, what happens to the mineral and water rights during the course of these extensive leases? I think if we answer all of these questions and figure out what, the benefits to the county and to the surrounding community, there's a lot that can go wrong. If you drew a line from Abby Cleaver's house, where her house was pretty well removed from its foundation, to my house, where my shop and part of my roof was removed from the very same tornado, the exact same storm, the same tornado, you couldn't hardly center it more directly over top of a proposed project. There would have been extensive damage. 100 mile an hour, 120 mile an hour straight winds, enough to, still up in the air whether it was a tornado or a straight wind. It's regardless, doesn't matter. Those solar panels would have been flying debris. So that's all I have.
Thanks, Ray.
Yeah.
Morning.
Morning, Brian Sokup, 1006 Road 4, O'Toole. First of all, I want to thank the zoning board. I know they're probably mostly not here, but we truly appreciate the time and effort that they put forth in the setbacks. Thank you, commissioners, for giving us the opportunity to speak. I mean, this is a huge effect on our community, our lives, people that live there. So thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to speak to start with. For the future of York County, we're in favor of the proposed half-mile setbacks. Without the half-mile setbacks, we feel that York County will be opened up to more than just the K Junction solar project. If we set these setbacks too lenient, we're going to get flooded. As York County, we will not have the protection of it. We're going to get flooded. It's already obviously offers up in the Benedict area and stuff too. That will just be a dump. And York County will no longer be an agricultural county. It's going to turn into eyesore of Nebraska, is my belief on this. And I think, sorry, I'm going off track on here, so I'll just stick with what I got wrote down. Jobs, local jobs. I heard Ray ask about this. There's nobody here that puts up solar panels. The jobs that come are gonna be the jobs of people putting these up. When it's put up, they're gone. There's no permanent local jobs, very, very few that are gonna come with this project. So that money is gone. That's not there. It's one of their talking points. It's a very bad talking point, if you ask me, because those jobs are not gonna stay here. Just so you know, recycling. Did plenty of studying on the recycling on these. Less than 10% of the solar panels that are out there and they're decommissioned are recycled. Out of those 10%, it's a small percentage of those that actually get recycled. There's still, the majority of everything goes into a landfill. Now, are we gonna keep creating this situation and putting these solar panels, wind turbines, everything else in landfills? Are we doing more damage to our country than we are to saving it? Efficiency. We've all looked at the efficiency, look it up. Just look up and see what the percentage of efficiency is. Daylight hours in this area compared to everything else. And then take that combined with agriculture and what we produce here. The decommissioning, that's a huge part of it, and anything I've read on this is decommissioning, you need to multiply it by 10, anything that we do. As a county, as a zoning, everything's gonna get more expensive as we go. Plan ahead on that, and it has to be money up front, because when they walk away, they're gonna walk away. I have nothing bad to say about OPPD or anybody else doing this, but they're there for their benefit. They're not here for the residents of York County. The residents of York County are sitting here and they know that this is not benefiting them. Anybody that votes in favor of this, I feel, have an alternative motive, and what that is, I don't know. I think local, let's adopt the zoning that our zoning commission that we have put in place puts there. Trust in them and what they do. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. Good morning.
Hi, Pat Wagner, 221 West End Street, McCool Junction. I've attended several county board meetings and other meetings listening to the pros and cons of the solar units and their potential tremendous value to business in the county. The jobs that would come with the building of the solar units will be temporary at best. There are many businesses in the McCool Junction area, in particular, that are of tremendous value to those who live in the area. We have 2 eating establishments in McCool. Our school is the largest employer in the immediate community. The Farmers Cooperative is also a large employer of permanent and seasonal employees. We are an ag-based community, as well as an ag-based county. And for instance, if the solar units take up the amount of ground that is hoped they may, it would have a huge effect on the community of McCool Junction. And that the Farmers Co-op would lose business because there would be fewer farmers needing the services of fertilizer, anhydrous ammonia, feed, seed, fuel, and in the fall, the influx of grain that is sold and stored at the elevator. This in turn would affect the eating establishments, the liquor store, the hair salon, the daycare, post office, and eventually the school. If that were to happen and our school were to close, our town would die. All for some solar units that would do nothing to bring any real progress or benefit to the community. There's one other aspect of the temporary workers that they won't build a house in McCool Junction, they won't have children in our school system, they won't become a part of the community. And one other thought on the temporary workers is that the farmstead that they'll be working there have a great deal of value in farm equipment and tools on site. I'd sure hate to have these farmers have to stand guard over their property with strangers working in the area. McCool Junction and the surrounding area and York County as a whole is an ag-based community. Let's leave it that way so our families can grow and pass on something of true value to their children and grandchildren. Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Diana Johnson Henderson.
Morning.
I first of all want to appreciate what the attorney had to say. The Green New Deal is not good for anybody. Anybody. Dig into it where it comes from. The Green New Deal is not good. I do want to invite everybody here. You all need to know about a meeting that's coming up on March 18. It'll be at the York High School Auditorium, and it's called Protecting Property Rights Forum. It's going to be put on by the Free Soil Coalition. There will be speakers here from South Dakota, Nebraska, and Kansas. I invite everybody to come to that forum.
Thank you, Diane. Morning, Willard.
Good morning. Willard Peterson, 514 Road 13. A word you haven't heard this morning. York. But I'm actually from Bradshaw. Ask the Postal Service why I have a York address. Bradshaw is the word I was really talking about because that's what I was. I want to make after last month's meeting, I went back and listened to myself on what I said and what other people said. That's pretty interesting. If you've never looked at yourself after you talk, it's kind of interesting to do because I learned a couple things. Well, one of them was I need to make a point clear that I made that most of you in here didn't hear. But anyway, it was the fact of when I was talking about being for or against solar, I got a little irate because I've had people accuse me of both. And that's what I'm using is the word accuse me of being for or accuse me of being against. And that's not what it's about. I like to think that with all issues, I look at both sides and kind of try to come to my conclusion for that. I want to read two things. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution of the United States of America. There's a lot of words in there that are really, really important. Now I came by this absolutely by accident. And it's a quote by our second president, John Adams, who served from 1797 to 1801. This is in a book that he and his wife wrote afterwards, after his presidency. I says, I do not say that democracy has been more important on the whole and in the long run than monarchy or aristocracy. Democracy has never been and never can be so durable as an aristocracy or a monarchy. But while democracy lasts, it is more bloody than either of the other two. Remember, democracy never lasts long. It soon wastes, exhausts, and murders itself. There never was a democracy yet that did not commit suicide. Now, I thought maybe this morning was some things after after the last meeting where you guys were discussing maybe slight changes to the whatever, and I thought maybe that was, if it's not appropriate for me to give you some thoughts on that real quick, then I won't do it, but I think it's appropriate. Speed it up, Willard. Oh, I know. I appreciate you from last time. I think one of the things you need to put in here, after listening to some of you guys get real specific on things, I think there needs to be a statement in those regulations that people that would decide if a project, once a project is approved, people who would choose to move into that area afterwards would not be able to affect the boundaries of whatever was going on there. In other words, they couldn't build someplace and force that other place to move their boundaries back because it's already been established. That's one thing I thought of. Another thing I thought of is with acreages and you know, stuff going into the country and everybody wanting to move out for beauty or whatever, that also that these people that buy acreages must abide by the setbacks that, well, we'll just use solar since that's what we're talking about. So if solar is in a setback where it's only got to be so many feet from the property line, if somebody buys an acreage and it butts up to that, then they have to move their house back as far as the entity would have had to if they were there in the first place. If that's not real clear, why, I can make it clear. But anyway, thank you very much.
Thanks, Willard. Anybody else? Okay. Anybody from downstairs, once again, would like to come up too? Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Patty Moore, 1812 Road 6, York. But we do live within the McCool Junction School District. So, and I apologize, this is my first meeting related to this topic that I've been to. So forgive me if I'm asking questions that have already been answered. As a landowner in the McCool Junction School District, I do have some questions as to how this will actually affect the school district and the property tax revenue that goes towards the school. I believe in the last York News Times article, there was some discussion that maybe now, since the project is owned by a government entity, public entity, that the revenue will no longer be there for the school, and which that's of concern to me, not only having children that attend that school, but also being a landowner. Then I question, where will the school come up with the money to compensate for that lost revenue? I don't know how many acres, farmable acres are within the McCool School District, but I imagine, 28 or whatever 100 acres that will be taken out for the solar project would be a decent percent. So then that would reduce the revenue by that amount. Not only that, but then if we have other projects going in other parts of the county, then those are also taxable acres that will be taken out of the revenue, not only for the schools, but roads and other things that the taxes go for. So I guess that would be my main question, is how is this going to affect the revenue for the schools? Is there a guarantee that there will actually be revenue? How much will that revenue be? It seems like there's a lot of generalities thrown around in response, but there's never any specifics to a lot of these questions. Is there a way we can pin down specifics? It's really hard to make decisions when you don't have the facts. And it seems like there's just a lot of questions that continue to be posed. The answers are never concrete. So is there a way we can pin these down to help make better decisions, more informed decisions on something so important? Also, I would ask, is there a limit to how many acres would be allowed to be developed like this in York County? So once we open the door, is it possible that we could have multiple industries, either the solar or related projects that would come in, also taking large swaths of farmland out of production, out of the tax roll, to the point where we're having to raise property taxes, which are already excessively high, I know, because we write the check. Raise them even more to make this even more prohibitive, or else we're going to have to cut services. And then again, decline the quality of life for those in the county. So I guess I would ask that. One final thought is, I'm not sure if anybody here has actually visited a similar project that is up and running at another location. To actually, you know, eyes and feet on the ground. See, what is this that we're approving? You know, kick the tires of the car before you buy it type of deal. Check it out. See, what is it like? What does it look like? What does it sound like? You know, if I was to live next to this, what would it be like? You know, put yourself in the shoes of the people that are actually going to have to be dealing with this on a daily basis, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. You know, so maybe take the time, since this is such a controversial issue, might be worth it just to put the trust of your constituents, you know, as a priority. Take a visit, see what it's like. So, thank you.
Thank you, Betty.
I know we're in a hurry here because
Morning,
it's going
Jim.
too long. Good morning. I have a couple facts here. The class of soil that we have here in the plains of the United States and in Ukraine, Russia, and 4 rivers of China and Argentina amounts to 7% of the Earth's surface that isn't covered with ice. The government of the United States owns 20% of the land of the United States. 18% of the land of the United States is irrigated. 99% of this project is irrigated. The reason those soils are classified like that is because the topsoil is 10 inches deep and the subsoil is 10 feet or more. Okay, my other problem is OPPD has, their territory is 11 counties. Some of their counties have already been overrun with 40% urban sprawl. Why do they have to come to York County to get their solar power that they overpromised? And I guess that's all I got to say, but we've got a lot of bridges to cross here and a lot of answers to have. There are some answers. The land that's in it's going to pay the land taxes just like they are now. And you know, who owns the land? It's a 30-year lease. So anyway, thanks for your time and Godspeed to figuring out what you're going to do.
Thanks, Jim. Morning.
Grant Jackson, 913 Road 3, McCool. I'm here again because this is real important to me. I have a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old. Guarantee they're not going to move back here if these solar panels go in. This land, I don't know all that much about zoning, but it's zoned agricultural. This is an industrial farm. That'd be like if we wanted to put a feedlot or a hog confinement in a residential or commercial area. So OPPD telling us this half-mile setback isn't appropriate. We'll go put it in Douglas and Sarpy County then. Like, if you want to put a project in, maybe have the zoning approved before you get permission to have the project. They're coming in the back door and telling us, forgive us later. That's not how it should work. So you need to set the precedent and do what the zoning board proposed. If not, I guarantee you're not going to have any zoning board left because they put all this time and effort in. If you're just going to overturn to make it convenient, as EDF told us, that's why they wanted it here, because it's convenient. Well, they can put it over by Omaha if they want it that bad. Sorry, I'm worked up, but thank you for your time.
Thank you, Grant. Anybody else this morning? Alex, nobody's in the hallway. Okay. Okay, at this time, then we'll close the comment section, public comment, and we'll continue down the agenda. There is no executive session needed that as far as I am aware of. General assistance cases likewise, vendor and payroll claims in front of us, gentlemen. Any questions on them this morning? A fairly light payroll and agenda. Entertain a motion if you feel so moved.
Are there any additional claims?
None that I'm aware of.
Make a motion that we accept the claims as presented.
Thank you, Jack.
Second.
Thank you, Leroy. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Sykes?
Yes.
Hot?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
Rhodes?
Yes.
And Over.
Yes, and no funding transfers. Is Lori here? Okay. Next up, we'll discuss an act on the.
Lori is here.
Yep, she's, I
Oh,
seen her
I'm
out there. That's all right. Zero tolerance policy. This is not an annual policy that we have to adopt, but biannual.
Every 3 years.
Every 3 years, okay. So you had an opportunity to look through it. I assume 29 pages of pure bliss to read.
Yes, exactly.
The underlining parts, as you commented to me, those were your county's parts.
Yes, they're to differentiate between the federal laws and state, and underlined is our policy here in the county.
Okay. And the county attorney's office did, as you commented also.
Did look at it.
And he's shaking his head. They're good to go with it. So does anybody have any questions of Lori while she is sitting here?
Were there much changes from 3 years ago, or is it pretty?
It's pretty much the same. There's more clarifications, and federal laws change and they have to update. And so this is basically just to update with the new changes.
Okay.
And to be honest with you, I don't know exactly what the federal law changes are, but they weren't major because it doesn't look like anything has changed to me. So I'm not sure exactly what federal law did change.
Very good.
It's probably more clarification.
Sure. Yeah. So it looks.
Entertain a motion.
I will point out it is a zero tolerance policy.
Right.
So.
Which seems to me like zero tolerance you could explain in a paragraph, not 29 pages.
Exactly.
But it takes that, doesn't it? Okay. Entertain a motion to approve the policy.
So move.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. Any other discussion? Roll call, please.
Rhodes?
Yes.
Sykes?
Yes.
Hot?
Yes.
Bear?
Yes.
And Over.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
I've
Lori.
got a
Thanks for waiting.
little tab on where your signature is
Yeah,
needed.
just want to set it right there. Have a great day, Lori.
Perfect, you too.
Okay, next up, we will meet with OPPD and meet with Javier Fernandez. And anybody else that's going to come forward, we'll ask that you state your name and address for the record. And welcome to York County, Mr. Fernandez.
Thank you so much. My name is Javier Fernandez. I'm the president and CEO of OPPD. Address is 444 South 16th Street, Omaha, Nebraska. This is a fantastic opportunity. I want to thank you all for hosting me. I know my team has been here regularly, and I've been very engaged with conversations with everyone, but I really have been looking forward to the opportunity to addressing the county commission and to hear from people, all the people who spoke this morning. I'm here to speak with you about the pending zone regulations related to solar energy development and share more insight on our work related to K-Junction. We talked about regulations this morning. They've been mentioned, and I believe that there will be some discussion later too.